Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network. The broadcast shows are for informational and entertainment purposes only. They are not designed to provide listeners with specific personal, medical, or counseling advice. Individuals with a medical issue should always consult their healthcare provider. MS&Me is not responsible for content of individual shows. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own. Enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Dawn Melanie. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of my show titled Managing Self. First and foremost, I thank all of you listening to me today. I thank you for joining me as I discuss how I take on multiple sclerosis, that is, how I manage myself successfully while battling MS every day. Every day, sunny days, rainy days, cold days, hot days, hail, sleet, and snow. Sounds somewhat like a postal carrier's mission or job, but MS, each day is like as predictable as the weather in North Texas. Rain, sleet, snow, tornadoes, what have you. Now, if you've listened before, I'm sure you're quite aware that oftentimes I use elements of how I manage my MS, and I often attribute it to what I call my pillars, such as my faith, a strong faith, and also fitness. Fitness is an integral part of my being. Fitness, as far as eating healthier, making choices to be as active as I can when I can. Of course, with MS, we can't be as active as we may want to be at any given day. But fitness, staying active with fitness, and I guess treating my body as well as I can. That is with food, exercise, minimizing stress, or walking away from stressful situations and not engaging them if I can help it. Having fun. I like to have fun. I always tell people I have fun with my family, my friends, and usually it's with food. We're usually eating, but that's pretty much me in a nutshell. That's how I manage myself. That's how I manage my multiple sclerosis. Now, so I tell people, MS, I hate to be like, gosh, MS is on my mind all the time, but technically it is on my mind. I mean, that's what the lesions are on our brains. MS means multiple lesions. Multiple sclerosis means multiple lesions, and those lesions are the ones that are on our brains. So it is on my brain all the time, but unfortunately it should be on our brains, even in our thoughts. We know everything in life initiates with our thoughts, that's for sure. I have MS. I know I can be like, this is going to be an awful day, or I can say, well, this is going to be a spectacular day. It's my thoughts. And even when I lost my vision, when I lost my hearing, when I couldn't walk, when I couldn't talk, when I drop things, I go, you know what? My thoughts help me to make it through the day. Because I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be a great day. And I'm going to do good. I'm going to do well. I'm going to do even better tomorrow. So those positive thoughts were the foundation, or like, the pavement of my road for each day. And that's how I kind of start each morning, with those thoughts. Before I get on the highway or get on my MS highway or road to, my MS road or MS highway. Now it's funny, speaking of roads and highways. Was it about 2 weeks ago? About 2 weeks ago, I got a new car. It's pretty much the same version as my older car, just a newer, latest year. And it's so funny because all the little doodads or gadgets or technological advancements that it included, I thought were silly. At first I was like, who needs all of this stuff? I'll be honest, I did say I want the full package, and I was like, well, I'm kind of used to the heated seat warmers, because when it's cold, that's, I don't know. Even in the summertime, I've been known to use my seat warmers. If it's below 80 degrees, I'm going to use my seat warmers year round. But I was like, the other amenities, I was like, okay, I was, I guess, discovering them the first few days I had the vehicle. And, it reminded me of Well, it's like, oh man, if managing MS was easy as this, where you could just kind of put in the little controls to help you along. One of the gosh, one of the literally likened it to my MS. I'm like, man, my favorite features. Well, my favorite features are the safety features, emergency braking to avoid frontal crashes, and you know those likely to incur from any unsafe backing up. So frontal and back crashes, the car will stop and not let you do it. If it'll apply the brakes if it's like, okay, you're too close to an object. So that's pretty cool, very good. As well as pedestrians crossing in front of you and things like that, it'll stop. That's pretty good. Some people don't see smaller kids, but little things like that. So that's pretty interesting. I guess my second favorite feature is lane detection, and people say, hey, stay in your lane. Oftentimes with MS, I'm having a not so great day, and someone's like, oh, if you would just get more rest, you feel better. And that's when they don't understand. Many of you do understand. Our bodies don't work that way. That is, people who are suffering from multiple sclerosis, our nerves are damaged, and we have this MS fatigue, which is above and beyond normal fatigue or normal degree of tiredness. And I liken it to a cheap phone battery, or a phone battery that has a full charge at 1 hour, and then within 10 minutes it's at 24%, and you haven't even used it you haven't even opened up an application. The phone battery has just drained that much. People don't understand that. So I want to say, stay in your lane. Like, you manage you, allow me to manage me. But anyway, the vehicle helps, alerts you if the car veers into another lane, if it crosses the white lines, and that is without properly signaling. So it's not saying that you can't go into the other line, or pardon me, the other lane, but it's saying that, hey, are you aware that what you did? And sometimes with MS, I kind of feel like that's like going, what did I just do? Or sometimes we have that, we will forget, our cognitive abilities slip a little bit sometimes. I know I do it all the time. It's like you can't remember the word you were even thinking of while you're telling the story, or you can't remember what the story was that you were trying to convey. Kind of like that. So, I think that lane detection feature is pretty awesome. Let's see, the smart cruise control is similar, where, again, oftentimes people may drive and set the car in cruise control and not realize that, they realize that they're gaining speed upon the vehicle that's in front of them, and they have to apply the brakes. And sometimes if you don't apply the brakes in enough time, then you're kind of tailgating, or now you're very close to the vehicle in front of you. Well, this smart cruise control takes into consideration of the speed that you want to maintain, and if vehicles are in front of you going slower, it adjusts the speed, that it applies brakes, and it maintains a safe distance at all times from any vehicles in front of you. So, and if the road's clear, you're back up to your speed that you selected. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Only can use that on like a perfect day, like going on a interstate highway. It's just fun. So, also the steering assist also kind of, if it's a straight way, it turns if your hand's on the wheel. So they don't want you just to sit there and have your hands back. You're doing your makeup and eating your coffee, or like drinking your coffee, doing your makeup, and all that sort of stuff, putting on lipstick. So you have to have one hand on the steering wheel so that it knows, hey, you're paying attention to some degree. Again, this would be great if MS was this simple. If it was that simple, but unfortunately, we all know that it's not. All right, I recall back in the olden days, let's see, 1999, over 20 years ago, I recall having to take my once a week intramuscular injection, my 3 times a week subcutaneous injections, my every other day subcutaneous injections, my everyday subcutaneous injections, making sure I scheduled my appointments for my, it's about almost 9 years. I did the once a month, once every 28-day intravenous infusion. So, or IV infusions. I had to make sure I had my MRIs every 6 months. I had to make sure I get my blood work, check my liver functions and things like that. All that stuff was kind of like me monitoring my body, my system. Kind of like I said, managing myself, essentially. That was me. That's me managing myself. And to this day, I still have to manage myself and do all of the above things. That is now I'm actually down to a twice a year infusion for my disease modifying therapy. But nonetheless, I have to be aware of what's going on with my body to make sure that I haven't had any significant changes, and if so, to notify my healthcare professionals accordingly. But that me and that awareness, I can't just roll through life doing the same things every day. Sure, they say if one performs the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same result. Well, unfortunately, that's not true with MS, because I've taken medicine as prescribed, and changes have occurred because MS does that. So with me, with anybody suffering from MS or any other illness that's somewhat unpredictable, as unpredictable as MS, we have to be conscious of like what's going on, not just like, this is what I do. This is what I do. No. We have to be conscious of this is what we do, or this is what I've done today, and this is how I feel, and this is how it affected me. And being conscious means just that. It's not you're just doing something without realizing or knowing why it's being done or what your part of it is. People speak of mind-body connections. I think that's so true with everything. But with MS, I know it is. Only I can convey to my medical professionals or healthcare professionals who are treating me. Only I can convey to them how I feel. They don't know how medication is going to affect me, because I'm not John, I'm not Mary, I'm Dawn, and I'm unique. We're all unique. So only I can convey that. So I need to be on my toes and be honest. I can't say, "Oh, I feel fine," or "Yeah, it worked," if it didn't really work for me. That's the thing. It's like I have to be honest. And so funny as I talk about this, I'm like, so many times people say they are looking for a solution, and the solution is right there in their hands, or their pockets more so, because it's in their hands, but it's kind of like it's in their hands, but they ball up the fist. They ball up that solution in the fist, and then they kind of like stuff it in their pocket, and they forget about it, or they try to forget about it, or they even pretend to forget about it. With things that matter, that's dangerous. I know what matters most to me is being healthy, and that's why I'm always talking about managing myself, managing my multiple sclerosis. Everything involving that, I have to be honest. First, number one, I have to be honest. Honest with myself, honest with anyone whom I'm seeking their help or assistance in helping me get a solution, or to better my condition, or to me, whatever. I don't want to. If I'm asking for help, I have to be honest about it. So that's how people, like, kind of like the car. The car. I was talking about the car earlier. The car. Okay, smart cruise control, yada yada. If I get out of my lane, it's gonna like beep and flash at me and tell me, hey, you're crossed over the line, without putting on your signal. Do you really want to do that? Well, with managing myself with MS or any chronic illness, or even some things personally in life, we have to be our own monitors of that. We're smarter than technology. I know sometimes people say, I'm not that smart. No. Computers are computers. They're programmed, and we all know that computers have glitches, but they're programmed. But I think humans are smarter than computers. We can do things computers can't do, because, well, we glitch as well. But anyway, just take me for that. Just let's go with that one. Humans are smarter than computers, and we know we're so unique. We have the capability to monitor ourselves, to respond to things. Where computers, They need a programmer to tell them how to respond. Like I said, if I know something's important to me, I know I have to prioritize its handling. Yeah, prioritize its handling. And I know that if I kind of forget about it, like say I forget about that solution offered to me by a physician, if I forget that I balled up in my pocket and just forgot about it, left it there, or maybe threw it in the garbage can mistakenly, it's kind of my bad. My bad. That is my fault. I think it was the Jim Rohn. Yeah, Jim Rohn. He said, without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. And I think of, okay, I always say, hey, my MS, my healthy MS or my successful management of my MS is important to me. Well, if I don't, if I seek help from the doctors and we agree upon maybe disease modifying therapy or any other therapy or anything, maybe going to physical therapy, which I've gone to a couple years ago, it's a year and a half ago, when my most recent fall. If I have these things and I don't utilize them, then I don't know how it's supposed to work if I don't use it. I said, well, I'll go maybe. I don't feel like going today to physical therapy. Like, oh, well, yeah, it's all good. I'm going to do the same thing. Walk like this and, walk in a straight line or practice this. Well, maybe next week. If I would have lost that sense of urgency then, I wouldn't be able to walk a straight line today. Now, might say, now granted, I still don't have the ability to walk a straight line very far, but for me to take 4 consecutive steps in a straight line, hey, I think that's a straight line. It's pretty good. That's pretty good for somebody who couldn't even take couldn't even take 1 step without falling over. And because we had honest, open dialogue. That is the therapist and I understand why I fall over after X number of steps. Usually it's because it's later in the day. Later in the day means I'm tired. My muscles are literally tired. And also my fatigue is setting because, well, I'm tired, especially if I haven't taken a nap. In the morning times, I can walk in the morning times, which, by the way, I know me, so I wanted to make sure I get the gold star. I scheduled my physical therapy sessions before 10 o'clock a.m. because I knew I don't like waking up early. My husband's like, why are you feeling so early? I'm like, well, because later than that, I'm kind of on the downhill. And so I wanted to be able to do and practice what she was telling me. So I went earlier and I was able to walk a straight line, like, I don't know, for 30 feet. She even timed me. I did well. I even walked a straight line backwards. Okay, and I did both front and back with my eyes open and with my eyes closed. Something I thought I would never ever do ever again in my life. So to this day, I can still do it, but again, it has to be early in the morning when I'm fresh and when I'm not tired. So my point is that mind-body connection is important. That we know our bodies ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves, and so it all starts with our thoughts. Earlier I said, hey, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, hey, it's gonna be a good day, even if I'm not doing so well. Maybe I did bump into the wall or something. I don't know, maybe I dropped something, but it all starts with our thoughts, our conscious minds, and that separates us from technology. The car, we tell it what to do, yada yada, and hopefully it gets it right if it doesn't have a glitch from whatever program that it's working with. So that mind-body connection is important, and honesty with ourselves and with anybody we're interacting with to get to the goals that we're trying to attain, that we say that we're trying to attain. That's very important, the honesty part. See, these are all things that I know would affect my ability to do my best at physical therapy, at the sessions. I could have gone and wobbled like I normally do, or which I've been doing for years, not knowing or understanding the elements that I have to think about and employ to stand straight for as long as possible without toppling over. But simple things. A lot of walking I've realized is thinking. At least for me, it is. With MS, things have changed, so it's possible for me. I'm not saying for everybody, but for me, it's possible to walk straight, relatively straight, but it requires a lot of thought. I have to be, like I said, fresh, not tired, and things like that. So I can make excuses like, well, I'll just never walk again. I mean, I can't do it. I can't do it. This is how it is. I can't do it. I have MS. Well, that's not 100% true for me, and I know that. And it's kind of like a lot of things in life I know I make excuses. One of my biggest things is I procrastinate, but I'll make an excuse like, oh, I don't have time for that right now, or I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it is a flat out excuse, but any excuse is actually it's simply fear, personal fear. That's essentially talking. That's what we do. We make excuses. That's our fear. We're scared of something. It's our fear being expressed. We don't realize it, but oftentimes that is. Now, it's weird, but I've had some friends, some acquaintances, say that they didn't want to go to physical therapy for walking. And I'm like, why? They're like, well, because my legs or whatever, or I have they have muscle spasms or things like that, and they don't want to. It's like basically making up an excuse. I'm like, my take on it is, okay, no one's perfect here, and just like everything with life, everything with MS, we hopefully have the outlook that things can be better, not perfect but better. So let's do what we can to make it better. So I don't know. I tell you, fitness is a big part. I'm working out. I'll probably go to the gym here in an hour or so, but people. A lot of times I hear people say something like, oh, I'm really out of shape. I don't have the fast metabolism that you do, Dawn. I mean, if I had a fast metabolism, I could lose weight, or I'm just out of shape, and that's just how it is. That's how it is because they don't do anything about it. My take on that is, well, if you do something, great. If you do something, again, no one's perfect, but if you do something as opposed to just making excuses, allow yourself some slack. Give yourself some slack. Allow yourself to be in a position where you're not saying I have to go to the gym 5 times a week, but if I go, it's better than not going. But I can. And help that kind of thought take the pressure off of you, and then maybe you'll get more into a habit or into the groove, and you'll find yourself there more often than you even imagined. This is what I mean. That mind-body connection. Everything originates with our thoughts, and me saying I'm gonna have a great day, MS or not, it was a thought when I woke up this morning, first thing out of bed. I could have done. Well, I probably did do some things that could have been put off, let's say, or should I say delayed. But I'm also aware of that. I acknowledge that, and I don't deny it. And I said about the car. It's like stay in your lane, do this, do that, don't get too close. My problem is sometimes I'll do things to not realize or that aren't essentially what matters most, and it puts me in a position to where now I have more on my plate. I mean, who out there is not guilty of doing a little web surfing on something that's totally silly? when you have some phone calls to make for, I don't know, maybe you have to call your doctor, maybe it's for work, But yeah, real life stuff to do, but you don't do it. Sometimes I look at this like, okay, I got one for you. For instance, me, I'll clean up. I'll clean up. I'll move this notebook and this stack of papers over here, and I'll straighten them out, and I'll place them over there. Okay, what did that accomplish? I don't know. Still a bunch of papers in here, but that's what I did instead of doing what mattered most. It's kind of like me going outside and raking the leaves, going, hey baby, telling my husband, hey baby, I raked the leaves, and I know that we got storm winds on its way this afternoon. It's kind of senseless. Okay, so for this week's challenge, to each of you listening out there and to myself, I propose the challenge to consider some area in your life, or more if you want more than one, but at least one area in your life in which you know that you've neglected. I mean, you've neglected getting it done, giving it your all. Not because it was impossible, but or not even because it's really difficult, but you just neglected it. Consider that area in your life. You didn't quite get it done. However, you did survive. But nonetheless, you didn't thrive. You survived, but you didn't thrive. And you know why you didn't thrive. Because you know that you no longer had that burning sense of urgency you maybe once had, once upon a time. That burning sense of urgency, it's gone. Or, well, you may say it's there, but it hasn't been there significantly enough for you to move forward and thrive in that area like you know you are capable of doing. This has been Dawn Melanie. I thank you for joining me for Managing Self, and I pray that you all have a blessed week. And I hope you'll, of course, join me next week. But until then, may we all get out our shovels, the same ones that we've been using to shovel BS from place to place. Get those shovels out and move some stuff around in places that make a difference, places that matter. This is Dawn Melanie. Have a blessed week.